Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I'm feeling energized because together we get to celebrate Meg Medina, award-winning children's book author and our 8th National Ambassador for Young People's Literature. For those students who may not know, I used to be a children's librarian. And now, as the Librarian of Congress, I get to decide who becomes our nation's reading champion for kids and teens just like you. So 2 years ago, I chose Meg for this important role, and for 2 years, she's been an incredible advocate for reading. So you can imagine how happy and a little sad I am to celebrate Meg on her well-deserved send-off party. Before we get into the program, I want to acknowledge the schools in the audience. Benjamin Tasker Middle School, Shirley Chisholm Elementary School, the Langley School, Elliott Hine Middle School, Montgomery Blair High School's Project Lit Book Club, and the Capital City Public Charter School. I also want to welcome our invited guests and members of the public. Just like Meg, it's a passion of mine to help young readers feel welcome here at the Library of Congress, to connect them with the wonderful authors and help them discover our treasures and exhibitions. In fact, one of my all-time favorite projects during my time as librarian is the development of a new education center called The Source. This space will encourage research and discovery by allowing young people to develop their own inner researcher by exploring special library collections. I mention The Source because once it opens in 2025, all of you can explore primary sources curated by Meg Medina herself. These resources are similar to the real-life materials Meg researched for her book, Burn, Baby, Burn. As you explore, you'll be prompted to create your own characters based on a research journey through songs and maps and newspapers. So remember, there's always something here for you at the Library of Congress. Now, let me say a little bit about Meg Medina. Meg has shone brightly during her ambassadorship. She proved to kids all across the country that their interests and their stories matter. She got kids talking about reading, really talking. And she got families to share their reading lives with each other, reminding us all that real learning requires togetherness. And wow, was she busy. She created a platform all about book talking. She called it Quintame, Let's Talk Books. And under this heading, Meg spent 2 years crisscrossing the country, holding events in classrooms, gyms, and cafeterias, fiercely insisting on one-on-one engagement with over 5,000 kids and teens. She also hosted events at the public libraries where she met families, community members, and educators. And at every event in each town, Meg took time to learn about the community's resources and needs. And she gave back. In collaboration with Candlewick Press, 6,000 books were donated to school-aged children all across the country. Meg also made sure the learning continued after she left by sharing educator guides, book talking, how-tos, resource guides, access to webinars for in-field practitioners, and more. Meg also established new firsts for the Ambassador Program, a family office hours series, and the Let's Talk Books video series. During office hours, Meg met one-on-one with children and their families to talk about writing, reading, and book talking. In the Let's Talk Books video series, Meg hosted beloved children's and young adult authors who demonstrated the power of book talking and offered advice to young learners and readers. Taken together, these series did more than connect kids and teens to books. They created an ecosystem of learning. They bridged school learning to informal learning. They bridged the classroom to home routines. They bridged individual learning to reading as family. And taken together, they prove that learning does not have to be stiff or formal. It can be exciting, rewarding, and challenging. So Meg, it is clear you leave behind a legacy of commitment, joy, and service. And to say thank you, we put together a program that mirrors these values. Today, you'll hear book talks live and in person, and you'll hear from some of the people who supported Meg during her ambassadorship. And we have not one, but 2 surprises in store for you. So without further ado, please welcome Meg Medina to the stage.
Wow, that Meg person sounds good. So thank you, Dr. Hayden. I'm sorry she couldn't be here in person, but I did get to have lunch with her yesterday, which was just such a special experience for me, to be able to say goodbye to this treasured librarian privately. But this morning, hello, book friends. Buenos dias. I'm so glad that you're here, and how exciting to see friends and family from all the different parts of my life. My students, my family, my publisher, friends from home, my assistant, like all this mix of people. It's beautiful. All writers, it's a well-known fact, all writers live through moments when words don't come easily. It's that dreaded writer's block where you find yourself with so many things that you want to say and no clear way to put them down. Interestingly, it's not usually because you don't have ideas. It's because you have too many and you can't decide which one is the most important to share. Thinking of what to say today has been that kind of moment for me. The past 2 years have been so full of memorable moments that I hope will linger in my mind for a lifetime. On my national tour, for example, I danced with a troupe in Nampa, Idaho, twirling with those big fancy skirts, and it's much harder than it looks. I drove 3 hours across Kansas with my editor, Kate, to discover that, yes, Kansas really is that flat. New Hampshire does, in fact, look like a beautiful holiday postcard. And Seattle's block-long wall filled with people's used chewing gum stuck to it is weird. And its music is incredible in that city. I'll remember walking through a farmer's market along the Pacific Ocean on that one really chilly day in California with Phoebe, so she had to get me a sweatshirt at Target, I think. We had to run. And I remember one of my early visits, the view of the Hudson River through a big window at the Newburgh Library in Newburgh, New York. Those are just like a few of the lovely moments, and there are just so many more captured in literally thousands of photographs in my iPhone, now crowding my iCloud. But the real joy of the last 2 years was meeting young people, and so I feel so happy to see you here today. Jason Reynolds, the former ambassador, told me it would be so when he handed me the reins. I loved listening to what kids had to tell me about the books that they love, to say nothing about how much I like digging into their reading lives. This was the crux of Cuéntame, my platform, Cuéntame, Let's Talk Books. Book talking happened on the road, during the book tour, of course, but also book talking happened during my office hours right here at this beautiful library when kids came to visit with their families. What does your reading life look like? I wanted to know. Why do you choose to read what you do? Why do you love to read, or do you? Where do you like to read? What do you wish could change about how people teach you about reading and literature? Sometimes kids said, I love reading, and I always have. Sometimes they said, I don't like reading at all, It's too hard and it's boring. A few of them said, "This book I'm telling you about really helped me when I needed it." And sometimes they gave me recommendations for expanding my own habits. So apparently I am severely lacking in the manga and horror genres. Here's what I know. When you really listen to someone, you learn what's in their heart. You find out that there's never really a wrong answer or an easy answer to a question. There's only honest conversation, and in that exchange is where we find understanding. During my tenure, I wanted to understand where kids are in their reading journey, and I wanted them to understand what it means to have a reading life, one that's outside of school, one that's totally in their control. I wanted them to know that they didn't have to be passive and just read what's assigned in class and call it a day. Instead, that they could have the power of choosing, of having opinions about what they like and what they don't like, that they could experience the connection that can happen when you talk for just a few minutes with somebody about the books that you've loved. Another highlight of my tenure was the time that I spent connecting with librarians, and there are several in this room today. I toured school and public libraries. These are places that are staffed with fearless people who are there to defend our right to read, whether we're 6 or 60. I tried to target communities where the public library and the school library were making efforts to work together. It's my belief that each of those spaces has strengths that can lend a hand to the other. And I hope and I encourage young people to rediscover that libraries are a sacred place. And so if you look on my Instagram, I filmed like every cool thing I could find in them. We should talk about video here, since it ended up being a surprisingly large part of my platform. There's so much worry out there, and the kids will attest to this, about kids and screen time, right? Especially when it's cast in opposition to reading, which I think is a mistake. I used my social media platform to post videos highlighting the cool things I saw in libraries around the nation. Things like giant puppet heads in Nashville, and maker spaces with sewing machines and laser printers and sound studios, yoga classes with preschoolers. But I also made a video series called Cuéntame, Let's Talk Books, which is hosted on the library's YouTube page. And in total, we created 18 short videos that feature accomplished authors, some of your favorites, book talking the books that they loved as a kid, and also discussing other things. We discussed their childhoods, their reading lives. They gave us tips for growing as writers. These are creatives who value and respect children. Some of them really struggled growing up. Others were not good readers as kids. Some were told that they weren't very good writers, and they never saw anything like who they were in the pages of the books that were on their library shelves. And yet, all of them grew their reading lives in time, and now they write stories for young people so that young people can build theirs. These colleagues are inspirations, and they represent just a small sampling of the hundreds of incredible authors making work for young people today. I leave these 18 voices for you to enjoy for years to come, but really, guys, I encourage you to continue to discover new and exciting voices of authors and illustrators. Finally, before I invite my two special guests to join me, I want to offer thanks. This is a time to celebrate a job well done together. 2 years ago, when Dr. Hayden offered me this astounding vote of confidence and asked me to be the nation's book friend, I was actually in shock and afraid, because this is a big, unwieldy country, and I wondered how on earth I could make impact. What I found out is that this program is a labor of love for many, many people, including several people sitting here today. I've been the face of the program, but the truth is that it has taken an entire team of people at the Library of Congress, at Every Child a Reader, and at my wonderful publisher, Candlewick Press, to make everything run as smoothly as it did. I especially want to thank Dr. Hayden and Sherry Webb, who's the director for the Center for Learning, Literacy, and Engagement, the entire Madison Council for their support of this program. Also the folks at the Young Readers Center who helped with office hours, the film office for their amazing work on the video series, the planning team at the National Book Festival, Ali Kong and all the librarians working on The Source, Maria Peña in the press office, and most especially here at the library, to Anya Creighton, who oversees the ambassadorship on the library side, and Clay Smith. Anya was absolutely all things to me here at the library. She's a treasure and now a friend. At Every Child a Reader, the originators of this program, as I said, a huge shout out to Shana Burkhead, who organized all aspects of the book tour, and to Carl Lennertz for his unfailing support of my work. At Candlewick, the place that I really call home, I want to thank Phoebe, who kept all the balls spinning, oh my gosh, as the liaison, and to my longtime editor, Kate Fletcher, who I will not look at right now, who did all that driving across Kansas and snapped pictures and hauled bags and even brought her whole family to see me in New Hampshire on Mother's Day of all days. As always, I owe an enormous thanks to my family, where everything starts. They're all here. I'm not looking at you either. They made space in our lives to lend me to you, and they did it without complaint. I'm back, and I have chores for you. Okay. But mostly, I want to thank the young people who made this journey so meaningful and so affirming to me, and who've come here today to help me celebrate. I'll close with this. It's from a bulletin board. There's a picture somewhere, I think, that was made for me early in the tour, I think in Newburgh. It said, "We came as strangers and we leave as friends. Rest assured, we are book friends forever, and you can be sure that I'll be cheering you and the next ambassador on. Thank you for the honor of serving you. And would you please now help me welcome the final two cuentistas of the Cuéntame Let's Talk book tour. They are James Mewey and Reginae Davis from Elliott Hine Middle School. Come on up, friends. It's so hard to take the stage with rock stars. Wow, look at this. How are you this morning?
I'm good.
All right.
I'm doing really good.
We had some time. We had some time before in the green room to chat. There were lots of great snacks back in there. And so what I've asked James and Reginae to do is book talking. Like everywhere I went, I talked to kids about the books I thought they might be interested in knowing about. It's like a 1-minute book commercial, but it was also important to listen to what kids thought I should read. So, who should go first? Does either one of you want to go first? Regine, you want to go first? She's like,
Sure.
"Ah." This is the danger of sitting close to me. So, what do you got for me, Regine?
I have a book called Burn Down, Rise Up.
Burn down, rise up. Okay.
So I'm gonna start. Have you ever been on a metro or subway and wondered what is in the darkness and what could be lurking? So, because Raquel, our main character, was thinking the same thing. Raquel noticed that teens were going missing from playing a game called the Echo Game inside the subway tunnels. And later she found out that her crush's cousin went missing, so she went to go plan to find him. What I really enjoyed about this book is how they talked about Raquel's home life and how, sorry to forget. And
I think that what I hear in the things that you like, because we talked in the backstage about Burn Baby Burn also, so you like contemporary sort of stuff that has to do with real life.
Yeah.
Yeah? Nice. Do you ride the metro a lot?
no, not really, but when I started to ride in Metro when I come home.
Yeah. Is it like a mystery?
It is a mystery.
What is it about mystery? Because Burn Baby Burn, the book you read that I wrote, was also sort of tense and mysterious. What is it about that experience? Do you like to be scared?
A little bit.
Raise your hand if you like to be scared by the books you read. Yes. It's everywhere. Everywhere in this nation, I have found that kids were like, it's the same group of people who want to be on roller coasters, like at the top and screaming, the bad things are going to happen. There's something about being scared that is kind of safe in a book, right? Mm-hmm. I like it. And what have you got for me, James?
My book is called Scythe by Neil Shusterman.
I know Neil Shusterman. Tell us about Scythe by Neil Shusterman.
Scythe by Neil Shusterman is a dystopian novel with a little bit of fantasy. So I would say if you like fantasy dystopia with the perfect amount of action, adventure, and a storyline, I would say Scythe by Neil Shusterman would be the perfect book for you.
Yeah. Let's find out who likes rate quietly though. Who likes fantasy? Yeah, that's the other hot one. A lot of people like fantasy. Why do you think people like fantasy? Especially dystopian, which is like the future is like really out of whack. What do you think the attraction is?
It could bring us into a world where everything could be perfect, or it could bring us into a world where we truly cannot experience now. It brings people into different worlds. What books could also do, brings us into places that we might not be able to experience.
I think also fantasy gives us such a chance to look at our own society.
Yeah.
The wacky things in our own society and sort of put them on the page and stretch them out to their strangest conclusion and figure out, what we think about what's going on in our own. I like Neil Shusterman a lot. Have you read, I don't know if you've read, he's got another sort of fantasy book called Challenger Deep, I think it's called. If you like Neil Shusterman, you might want to pick up that one. He wrote that one, you'll never believe with who? With his son. Really? Yes. So it was a team writing thing. I know, you could write with someone. So he wrote with his son, and...
Wait, I have a question for you, though.
Yes.
How old was his son? Young, old?
I can't answer with authority, but I'm going to guess his son was in his 20s. And the novel explores mental illness, but it does it through fantasy. And just like with Scythe, it's that page turning, like you can't stop. Was your book a page turner also?
A little bit.
Yeah. What happens when you are reading and you get bored?
I put the book down.
All right, right.
If I'm reading a book and I necessarily don't like it, I get bored, I put it down.
Okay.
I don't keep
What?
reading.
All right. So let's decide how many pages should we give a book before we
The
say
first chapter.
a chapter? What? Oh, she's
You know,
tough.
the chapter is supposed to be the hook. The first chapter is supposed to be the hook.
Yes.
The first like sentence is supposed to be the hook. So, I mean, I guess I give it 1 to 3 chapters. Maybe give it a little more of a chance. If somebody's like, "This book is so good. This book is so good."
I know.
So yeah.
I disagree.
Why do you disagree?
Books that are boring are boring. Put them down.
Here, I want to give you a window into this debate that was going on backstage. So, our friend Regine likes to read books several times. Who here likes to reread favorite books? You are people of my
told you.
heart.
Over and over.
Okay.
I told
All right.
you.
Who are the one and done people? The people who are like, yeah, you get it one time, that's it. Okay.
Boring.
So this was the battle that was going on back there. And why? What is the value for you of rereading a book?
I like it. Like Heartstopper, the best book. Reread it. Told you.
And why do you think one and done?
You read it once. Do you need to read it again? You're gonna remember all the informational details. You're gonna remember all the good stuff. You would only if you reread a book, then you just look at all the little small things that you forgot when you reread it the first time. I'm just one and done. I wouldn't reread it.
I'm usually one and done only because there's so many.
I have Meg on my side.
I'm always trying to keep up. Like the most embarrassing thing for me is when people say, "Hey, have you read?" and they tell me a book and I haven't read it, and I feel like, "Oh man, I better put that on my list." So I'm often one and done. But Regine, when you know this experience, kids, when you have read a book you really love and you get to that last page, and you know you love that book because when you wake up in the morning, it's like the thing you want to reach for and so on. When you get to the end of that book and you're really sad to let it go, like, oh, or as a writer, speaking bluntly, my editor will confirm this, I'll read someone else's book that I thought was incredible and I'll go, how was this achieved? Right? How did they do it? What is the secret sauce? And I go back and I'm reading it a little differently. The first time I'm reading it just for the joy, and the second time, if those of you who are thinking about writing, the second time you read a book is sometimes for the how, for the mechanics of it, to sort of, it's like if you were to take apart a radio and try to put it together or something like that, just to sort of see.
Can I say something about writing?
Absolutely. You can say anything. I told you, you got to lob everything in.
I would say I'm an award-winning poet.
We've been wanting to talk. Do you know that he won a big prize last year in the 6th grade? You came in second place in a was it citywide, DC?
The Junior League of Washington 6th grade division for the Junior League of Washington Poetry Contest.
I hear you have it with you. Congratulations. I kind of want to hear a piece of this poem. Can you? Is it long? Is it short? Do I have time to hear a little bit?
Miss Rose has it right there. I can read it.
Oh,
in 2
well,
minutes.
handy. This is an all-purpose librarian. Here comes Ashley. Come on up. Go, Ashley. Thank you. There we go.
All right,
Okay.
So our theme for the poetry contest was grow. So this
Was what?
Was grow.
Okay.
Growth. So the name of my poem is A Real Truth to Life, and I'm going to read it.
Okay. Here's what I'm going to tell you about reading poetry. Slow,
Okay.
and let the words sink in.
Okay.
All right. You with me? Okay. Here we go. We're going to give them all our attention.
All right. Life is something every single one of us do. Every single one of us have to go through. Every single one of us gives our best. It always takes us to the test. Sometimes it's something we don't want to do, something we all at times don't want to go through. Every single day is a struggle. The feelings never go to rest. You want to give things your best, but at times, all you want to do is be laid to rest. Life is hard, though. It's worth the wait. It might seem hard now. All we can do is wait. See how things go down before thinking about an untimely fate. Because things can be better. You never know what you can do. Be the next public figure. Wait to see how you do. You can be more amazing than you already are. You can travel far. With a little bit of pride in you, all your desires will come true. So look where you are now. You have traveled far. All the things, all that waiting that you had to do, it made you a better person with more just to do. Believe in yourself. Always believe in you. You never know what can happen, so keep that close to you.
That was great. So, we were talking about, that's beautiful. And of course you won second, of course. You are an award-winning poet, and I hope you continue. Do you read poetry? Or do you read poetry?
I do a little bit of both.
Nice. And so you were thinking, I know you do drama at school, and I know Regine does music and so on, and percussion.
Yeah.
We were starting to talk about, like, so what do you think you're going to do? And you were thinking journalism or art, or what are you thinking? Poetry, writing? When you look out, like through the reading lens, what are you thinking? What is you think you might want to do?
I would say that I love poetry. Poetry, I still write it now. It's something that I feel like I could do in the future. But you also talk about journalism. I love everything sports, so maybe like sports journalism, sports broadcasting. I've looked into careers like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love sports. I love poetry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how about you? What are you thinking? You were thinking, I know we talked in the back, journalism, and what were the other ones?
Art?
You love art too. Oh, well, children's book is a place for you, my friend. Art and writing is a good place. The other thing that was really interesting to me is that you help run a book club at your school.
I don't help run it, but I do.
Okay, well, what do you do? Tell me.
Okay.
If it's not running, tell me. It's a
So-
rainbow club or something?
Rainbow Book Club.
Rainbow.
So we read like queer authors. So we were reading recently. We read Jasmine is Haunted, which is super good, and Alex Wise and the End of the World, and I hate it.
Why do you hate it?
You're
Why do you hate it?
entitled
Why
to
do you hate it?
you're entitled to like or dislike a book. That's a thing, that's a thing. So, what drew you to this book club?
What drew me is because I want to be in like a community with the people who are kind of like me. So yeah, that's why I joined it. And I like books and I like queer authors. So yeah.
I like the word. I like the thought of using community because that's really the thing. So, audience, you've watched us book talking for a few minutes, all of maybe, I don't know, 10 or 12 minutes. Oh, 15. And as this timer lady is telling me. And here's the thing about book talking, about sharing books with other people. In a very short amount of time, you can take a peek into their heart. You can get to see what their hopes are, what their aspirations are, the things that they like, their sense of humor, their strength, all of that. And that's the magic of it. That's the magic of returning joy to how we handle reading and books in kids' lives. Needs to not be complicated and heavily weighed down with lots of assessments and things like that. They know what they like. They can tell you. They make connections with what's in the page and mostly with each other. with the other kids in that classroom, in that library, in that school, who in a few minutes have relationship. And I think every educator here will agree with me when I say very little learning happens unless you have relationship in that space. So I say that book talking and sharing what we like to read and what we don't like to read and all of that is a glue, is a way to come together. Now, James and Regine, you are my final cuentistas, and I'm so excited and grateful to you for coming up here, because it's not easy to sit in an auditorium, as we all know now, right, in front of lots of people. But was it as scary as you thought it might be?
A little.
Okay.
Yes. You know, I got my parents over there direct me.
I want to.
Hi, Mom.
Can
Hi,
we
Dad.
give a hand to Regine and James' parents? Can you guys?
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm holding. And one final round, please, for my cuentistas. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Regine and James. That was such a wonderful conversation to witness and a great end to the cuentistas that have spoken with Meg. She's talked to 46 now across the country. So, my name is Shayna Burkhead, and as the Associate Executive Director of Every Child a Reader, it has been my honor to work on this program in partnership with the Library of Congress for many years. 2 years ago, we inaugurated our 8th National Ambassador for Young People's Literature, Meg Medina. And over the last 2 years, I have remained in constant awe of this woman we are celebrating today. In awe of her commitment to this role, the time and energy she's given to it, her thoughtfulness, and her ability to put anyone at ease, but also the fun that she's had doing it, because this role is challenging. It can be draining and demanding. It's a position, not an award. A job on top of all the other jobs she already had. So much has been said about Meg's amazing accomplishments as ambassador. You don't need me to rehash them, but I do want to highlight something that's really stuck with me these last few months of Meg's term. In the 24 months that Meg has been ambassador, she has had 32 official events. For anybody good at math, that's almost 1.5 events per month over the course of 2 years. That's a lot. And that number does not include the hours of filming for her video series or capture the multiple sessions in her 4 days of office hours. It doesn't include the calls, emails, the virtual meetings, or the hours that Meg has put into thinking about her program and the platform and how she wanted it to impact young people across the country. So in short, she's been really, really busy. I've been noodling my remarks for this event for a while. I think we all have. How can I properly acknowledge and thank a person who has become my friend? I keep going back to one of Meg's more out-of-the-box events in Santa Monica, California this year. On top of her amazing school and public library events, Meg participated in the Human Library. For a few hours, Meg herself was a book. Folks could check her out for a conversation and ask her anything about her experience. I think your book title was Cuban-American Children's Book Writer. So, to honor Meg, and in honor of Meg and her platform, I thought I could do a book talk about the book that is Meg. So here we go, bear with me. Have you ever met someone and immediately thought, this person is going to change the world? Have you ever met someone and known in an instant that you could tell them anything and they would listen with their whole hearts and with compassion? What about someone who does all of that and knows how to be silly? Well, I have, and her name is Meg Medina. In the story that is her life, Meg has been lots of things and touched lots of people. She's been a teacher, a friend, a mom, and a daughter. She's been a teller of stories and a supporter of librarians. She's been a crusader and a confidant, and soon she will be a grandmother. I think my favorite thing about this story is the fact that it isn't over yet, that Meg will continue to do all of the amazing things she's already been doing, and people will continue to be touched by her story. Meg plumbs the depths of humanity, makes you think and feel, and will never fail to make you laugh. Meg, I am and will always be a big fan. I'm also a big fan of all the people that it takes to make this program run. I know that we've thanked people ad nauseum, but I'm going to do it some more. I want to thank Meg's publisher, Candlewick Press, and in particular, Phoebe, for the wholehearted support of Meg's ambassadorship. I want to thank Meg's family and friends who support her so completely. I want to thank Carrie Poor for everything that you do. Every Child a Reader is so grateful for this program and our partnership with the Library of Congress. There's an amazing team here, but I really want to thank Anya most of all. I love that you know how to get things done and laugh at the same time. And I especially want to thank all the school and public librarians, teachers, and community leaders who made all of Meg's events possible all over the country. Okay, while we're on the subject of fans, I want to let you in on a little secret. Meg has a lot of them. I know you knew that, but did you know that one of those fans is actor, writer, and all-around funny guy, Max Greenfield? If you don't recognize the name, I think you might recognize the face. Max saw Meg this year at the National Book Festival and immediately messaged her, I think it was a DM on Instagram, and asked how he could support her amazing work. But before I turn it over to a lovely video from Max, I just want to say to Meg, thank you from the bottom of my heart and beyond.
Hi, Meg, and thank you to everyone who is visiting the Library of Congress. My name is Max Greenfield. I'm an actor and an author of books like I Don't Want to Read This Book and Goodnight Thoughts. A book talk became a signature activity during Meg's tenure as ambassador, so I thought it only appropriate to share with you all a book that has meant so much to me. It is called Oh, the Places That You Will Go by Dr. Seuss. Now, I know this is kind of a classic book, but as someone who struggled with reading as a child, sounding out words that make no sense made perfect sense to me. This book is also a beautiful text preparing any child or an adult for the ups and downs that they may face as they step out into the world, and of course, all of the places that they may go along the way. Sharing this book reminds me of all the places that reading has taken me. I wonder where reading will take you. Meg, thank you for everything that you've done. Thank you so much for your impactful service as ambassador, and thank you all for visiting the Library of Congress.
Good morning, everyone. There we go. Yes, I love it. Thank you. So I'm gonna let Meg and our fantastic Quintistas sit in the audience so they can enjoy the surprise that's coming after this. So can we give them a round of applause as they go sit down? Oh, no, you weren't trapped. And thanks to Max Greenfield. My name is Anya Crichton, and I oversee the ambassadorship on behalf of the Library of Congress here. You know, we've learned a lot about what Meg has been up to these past 2 years as ambassador, but it also meant I spent a little time reminiscing about Meg. And when you reminisce, usually you start at the beginning. So, indulge me just a moment to think back to where this all began. And if you travel back to January of 2023, this was the tail end of the pandemic, guys. You remember that young readers and adults, we were tired of Zoom. And we were tired of remote life and learning, right? And we also felt like it was a struggle to get back to our real lives. So Meg came up with a solution. She leaned into this very project that devoted its entirety, its whole being, to the pure enjoyment of reading. And she opened with questions like you heard earlier today. What was the last book you read and loved? What's the book you return to over and over and over? Who is your all-time favorite book character? What is the book you just hated? right? Meg knew if she could get young readers engaging, not just responding or reporting, she could make space for kids to share their stories, their passions, and their interests. And she knew that this process needed to be doable, easy to latch onto, but also genuine to the way that you all think and talk. And that's where the book talk came in, and the real heft of Cuéntame was born. And you saw its power today with Regine and with James up here, didn't you? How they got excited about the big books that they've read and the ideas that they have, how their book joy and excitement may even have reminded yourself of you, right? How you read and how you learn. I saw this magic all over your tenure, Meg, and I watched as you used these thoughtful and funny and tender moments to gently guide kids, giving them permission to explore and own their own stories. So much of what we learn in life comes from the in-between times and spaces, not just when we feel successful, but when we're unsure, curious, driven, challenged, and excited. Meg patiently and compassionately opened this panoramic door, inviting kids just like you to connect with books and stories that felt wholeheartedly true to them. This approach, coupled with Meg's mandate to combine learning spaces from the public library. Your library at Elliott High, I'm sorry, I have to introduce myself, sounds amazing. You guys and this librarian here. Hey! I hope you all bring that energy back to the Library of Congress, because Meg really did link the Library of Congress to all of you here in Washington, D.C. All of this suffice it to say, Meg, what I miss and what I think of you most when I think of these 2 years is your ability to listen really acutely and accurately. And listening is hard with real, open, and honest ears. You're an inspiration, Meg, and you're an idea machine. You galvanize the ambassadorship in new and exciting ways, and you encourage us to keep protecting books and reading for this nation's young readers. And Meg, you move our hearts. So, one last round of applause for Meg Medina, please. So we've said a lot of thank yous. Please imagine that this is the Librarian of Congress saying these thank yous, so I am going to say them. We do want to thank Meg's publisher, Candlewick Press, Phoebe, Kate, Mary, the whole team. You all have been just tremendous, and we're grateful to you. Our program partner, Every Child a Reader, Carl and Shayna, you are true and lasting collaborators. A whole team of people at the Library of Congress, the Informal Learning Office, the Grants and Contracts Division, I know, but they're awesome. The Communications team, the Multimedia Division, the Events Office, the Office of General Counsel, you do need them, the Development Office, and they brought our library chief sponsor, the James Madison Council, for whom we couldn't have done this program. And we, of course, thank Sherry Webb, the director of the Center for Learning and Literacy. So now, Meg has done so much for us, we wanted to send her off with a special tribute. A special dance performance from DC Casineros. They're a local dance troupe. They practice near Brookland Metro. This group specializes in various styles of Cuban dance, including the son, the rueda de casino, and more. So please, if you have anything in the aisles, would you just take them out of the way just so we don't inadvertently trip them, please? And we encourage you, it's gonna be so much fun, to dance in your seats, but don't leave your seats, okay? So please stay in your seats. And after the performance, I'll come up and we will dismiss you all by school, okay? So adults, stay seated. All right, and without further ado, DC Casineros.
de su tierra se respira y en cada nota cuando suena el piano debemos mantener.
Diego y los muñequitos, qué clase de combinación. Bebo, que aquí te llegue mi rumba, pianista de corazón.
Toca tu piano, sentimiento cubano sale de tu corazón. Suena tu piano, que tu tumba, mi hermano, no tiene comparación.
Díselo, Cigala.
Guaguancó para Bebo Valdés, la rumba buena me llama, desde el cielo está tocando, y su piano va sonando. Pero para Bebo Valdés yo te llamo, nadie toca el piano como lo tocaba usted. Yo quiero escuchar esa melodía, pero la rumba buena te está llamando. Esta rumba es del tiempo España, caballero. Aguancó como millares, pero los cubanos, los gitanos están bailando, caballero. Aguancó como millares, que aquí que vengan a cantar, que vengan a bailar el guaguancó matancero. Pero el guaguancó del tiempo España, caballero. Pero la rumba buena te llama. El guaguancó Bebo Valdés lo está escuchando allá en el cielo. Cigala, los muñequitos te están invitando. Pero más perepum para Bebo. Allá en el cielo yo lo estoy escuchando. Que la brindamos particular a Cigala, para que sepa que los matanceros lo quieren y lo llevan.
Mañana me voy pa' Cibalicú, mañana. José Alberto el Canario, con el septeto santiaguero. En el patio de mi casa, tengo una mata de almendra. En el patio de mi casa, tengo una mata de almendra. Con un letrero que dice, el que no sabe que aprenda.